Hello and welcome back to Cult Leader. I'm your Cult Leader, Spencer Henry, and this is a Little Leader, our weekly catch-up where I share some of the stories that you all send to me. If you have a story you'd like to share with the cult, send it on over to spencer@cultleader.com and put Little Leader somewhere in there so I know where to find it. How's it going, babes? Happy Friday. Holler from the Holler. I am out in the mountains right now. We are spending a week in Blue Ridge, Georgia, and my God, it is stunning out here. I'll share the Airbnb info when we're out of here, but this place is great. The views are just absolutely insane. Like if you go out on the balconies, you look out and it is just nothing. Nothing. Just nature, trees. You're not even looking at other houses, other cabins. Truly feels so remote. It's the best feeling ever. Such a good little reset. I mean, I did work all week, but it was nice to be here doing it. Something about, just sitting outside, writing in the woods. It just feels right. I'm living my misery fantasy. Not miserable, but the movie Misery. We were just talking about that recently, and I actually tried to make the champ watch Misery the other night. I was like, come on, we're in a cabin. He's like, we literally just watched it. And I was like, yeah, but we're in a cabin in the middle of the woods. Hello. It sets the scene. It's giving the right vibes. Alas, he's like, no, okay, let's watch something else. And so we settled on True Detective. How have I never seen this show before? I feel like you guys are holding out on me. Like, what do you mean there's a show about cult moida and nobody's told me about it? I've got a bone to pick with you guys, but actually I'm horrible at checking DMs. And there's probably a ton of DMs telling me I should watch it. Probably said I would too. Never got around to it. Anyway, it is so good. If you guys have not seen it, it is so worth it. Well, I'm only one episode in, but I'm telling you right now, I can tell. All right. It's a good show. I started season 1, episode 1, and I guess the premise, he was trying to explain it to me. It's kind of like every season is an entirely different cast based on an entirely different crime. And so the first season, the one I'm watching right now, stars Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson, and they are the two detectives that are trying to crack this case about a murder that seems kind of satanic, like there may be a cult behind it, and I loved it. I really loved it. So I'm excited to watch the second episode tonight. Highly recommend. I'm Googling while watching it last night, right? I can't ever just fucking sit and watch something. And I guess there's a link between Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson. The reason I started looking into them is because I was like, I think they're both from Texas. I knew Matthew McConaughey was, but I couldn't remember if Woody Harrelson was from Texas or not. Both of them are. And it appears there's potential, there's rumors that they themselves have speculated on that they might be half brothers. And I was like, oh shit, that would be so crazy. And I forget the exact details of how that all came to be, but wouldn't that be wild? I mean, the Harrelson family, Woody Harrelson's family already has some pretty deep lore. And I want to say I talked about it a long time ago. Remember back in the day, like early days of Cult Leader, I used to do a lot of list episodes, which we should bring back because I like a list episode every now and again. But we did a few celebrity series list episodes where I talked about different celebrities and their ties to true crime cases. I'm sure this had to have been on there. But if not, here's a quick refresher for those who maybe already know this. But Woody Harrelson's dad actually died in prison. He was a hitman. Talk about lore. Imagine your father being a hitman. Crazy. His dad's name was Charles Boyd Harrelson, and he had gotten married a bunch of different times, and one of those times was to Woody's mom, Diane. And this was actually in the throes of his kind of career as a criminal. But I guess the story goes that Woody's dad left Woody and his two brothers and their mom back in 1968. So Woody was like 7 years old when his dad walked out the door. murder. Oh, that's what it was. Okay, wait. Matthew McConaughey's mom apparently had a run-in with Charles Harrelson at some point. And I think that's when Matthew McConaughey, I believe, is the one who came out and said something of the sort, mentioning that, his mom could have potentially slept with Charles Harrelson, which would have made sense time-wise, I guess, that he and Woody could have been half-brothers. I don't know. I don't know the whole story there. I think they said they were going to get a DNA test. I don't know if they ever did. So yeah, I mean, imagine both of them have this dad who has this wild career as a hitman. I mean, Charles, his rap sheet is interesting, to say the least. Before Woody was even born, his dad was convicted of armed robbery, and then he was also tried for murder in 1968, the same year that he left the family, actually. He was supposedly behind the murder of another man named Alan Berg, and was also tried for another murder that took place in 1968. He was the suspected hitman of a man named Sam DeGalia Jr., and he did do some time in prison, I think about a decade, but then he was released in 1978. And the following year, he's implicated in yet another murder, but this time he's fucked because the victim was a judge. U.S. District Judge John H. Wood Jr. You can get away with a lot, but I feel like when you kill a judge, all bets are off. And that judge was pretty notorious, which is why he made some enemies throughout his career. I guess a drug dealer had apparently reached out to Charles Harrelson to kill the judge, and the judge's nickname was Maximum John because he would give out these absurdly long sentences for people that had drug offenses. And Charles Harrelson ended up being found guilty. He was sentenced to life in prison. But not only that, his wife at the time also went to prison. They said she was in on it, but the arrest was actually probably one of the craziest parts of the story because they found out Charles was potentially he was their biggest suspect in the judge's murder case. They find out Charles is this hitman, and they learn that there was that connection to the drug dealer, I guess. Well, when they went to arrest Charles Harrelson, he's all fucking jacked up on cocaine, right? He has been just snorting that white powder, and he is just coked out of his mind. And there's this huge standoff with police where he's like, I'm gonna fucking kill myself and blah, blah, blah. And he tells the police during this standoff that not only, he was the one who killed the judge, but also he claimed to be responsible for killing John F. Kennedy, assassinating the fucking president of the United States. You guys, I mean, they were in Texas. So there could be bigger surprises out there. There's all sorts of conspiracies around it. Obviously, after that standoff, Charles ended up getting apprehended and he went to prison, and that's where he would spend the remainder of his life. But during that time, shortly after going back to prison to serve his life sentence, he reconnected with his son, Woody. In an interview in 1988, Woody Harrelson told the press that he had actually gone and visited his father in prison pretty regularly. Don't know if he did that up until the end, but he was for a while, and he talked about some conflicting feelings with all of it. But a few years after Charles went to prison, he tried to escape and he got caught. I guess they were trying to climb out down a rope, and they the cops shot a warning shot in their direction. And they were like, all right, jig is up. We're not going to try this. We're not going to escape. So that was kind of the last big news there. And then in March of 2007, Charles Harrelson dies of a heart attack in prison. Just quite a colorful life he led. There's a podcast called Son of a Hitman that came out in 2020, and I think it's 10 episodes. I want to listen to it because I feel like there's probably some more wild stories in there. So maybe I'll listen to that on our drive home this weekend, and who knows, it could end up being a Cult Leader episode. It sure sounds like there's a lot going on there, and that was what was actually really interesting. So the Wade Wilson episode that I have coming out, we're really focusing more so on everything leading up to the crimes versus the crimes themselves, because the more that I started digging into Wade Wilson, the more I learned about his early life and his early crimes and all of these red flags that made it very unsurprising, I should say, that he ended up doing what he did. I suppose that's the benefit of talking about a more recent crime, is that there's a lot more people to come out of the woodworks with stories and fill in a lot of the gaps that disappear when we're talking about older cases sometimes. But personally, I think I have a tendency to want to lean towards not historical cases, but especially right now. I mean, you guys know I've been talking about it a lot, but I've just been so into cold cases. I've been researching so many different cases from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. That's kind of the realm that I've been living in lately and wanting to research. And a lot of those cases, you do have to really hunt for your sources, but there's so much more reward in that versus just seeing everything that's already out there being reported on. I digress. We have a lot of good stuff coming out, but it made me think of that Wade Wilson episode, like just this crazy history that resulted in such a bombshell ending. I am a little nervous for the Wade Wilson episode to come out, not gonna lie. I did go in on his supporters, so I'm expecting that there's probably going to be some crazy people coming out after that one. But oh well, what can I say? I already recorded it. I'm not recording it again. I'll tell you that much. He was feeling sassy. Sometimes I just go. Sometimes I just talk on these episodes, and I just go off on these tangents that I'm like, probably gonna hear shit about this. And inevitably I do, but that's me putting it out there, and that's fine. Guess who's sleeping fine at night? Me, I am, and Hot Dog, who's curled up next to me right now. We've been just loving this little cabin life. We have spent most of the week inside of the cabin, but we did go into town the other day, and the town's cute. It's actually surprisingly big for a little mountain town. We went to gather provisions, and by provisions, I mean I wanted to go into every general store, every little store, and look at the things that are in every general store in every mountain downtown. But this time it's different. I could see something I really want. And actually, I'm glad I did, because we found this cool old bookstore, and I found some wild books. Can I share my little haul with you guys? One I'm really excited about. It's called Star Ghosts, and there's this picture of Elvis and Marilyn Monroe on the cover, and they're all blue, written by a guy named Hans Holzer, and it says Haunted Hollywood. According to Hans Holzer, an expert in psychic phenomena, the ghost of Elvis Presley, Marilyn Monroe, Jean Harlow, and other top stars still inhabit the Hollywood mansions in which they once lived. Cool. I'm excited to read this one. I'm saving the best for last, though. And then I found an edition of Borderline magazine. These are all very, very old. I believe that first one, when did this come out? This first one has a copyright for 1979. So that book's from 1979. And then the Borderline magazine that I got, I'm not sure when this one came out. I'm not sure, but it's talking about the ghost of James Dean. And it's got all these stories about like mysticism and stuff. And I see they've got Vampira on the cover as well. And then I got another book. This one is by Brad Steiger, and it's called World of the Weird. Witches, monsters, murderers, unbelievable but real, fantastic but factual, incredible but true. I'm going to change Cult Leader's bio to that. This one is from 1966, The World of the Weird. And then last but not least, I got this book. It's by Mary Bringle, and it says Jean Dixon, Prophet or Fraud, a chilling analysis of America's most famous seeress. And it says, who is the real Jean Dixon? Jean Dixon's reputation is phenomenal. It is claimed that she predicted the assassinations of John F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King Jr., and Robert Kennedy, Marilyn Monroe's suicide, and many other events. It's claimed she has great healing powers, is an instrument of God, and can see into the depths of people's minds. Since JFK's assassination, Jean Dixon's fame has skyrocketed. Once a Washington, D.C. hostess and businesswoman, Jean rose to become America's #1 prophet. Books by her have sold millions of copies. She receives more than 2,000 letters every day from fans. She appeared 11th on Gallup's Most Admired Woman in America list last year, and some even say that Jean Dixon is slated to become the first woman president of the United States. Bad news, Jean. Hasn't happened. Who is this remarkable woman? Is she everything her admirers claim, or is she dangerous and irresponsible? Read this searching examination of the incredible Jean Dixon. Learn about her personality, her prophecies, and her political opinions, her methods of clairvoyance, her reputation, how she runs her foundation, Children to Children, and her predictions for the 70s. I'm so excited to read this. You have no idea. I mean, profit or fraud, that was enough to get me. And you look at the cover of it, it's giving cult leader is what it's giving. So really excited to read that one. I'm actually probably going to start with that one because I see an episode coming out about this gal. Oh, and speaking of books, I finished the Patreon book club choice for this month, and it was one that Madison picked. The way I was flipping through the last quarter of that book, holy shit, it got me. I was trying to predict what was happening, and I got. It's called The Mad Wife by Megan Church. Fantastic. A very easy book to get through. It's one of those books that, you're reading it before bed and you're like, okay, one more chapter. And then something happens and you're like, okay, one more chapter. I was up so late finishing that book. Highly recommend. And the day that we actually went to that bookstore, we also went to the Bigfoot Museum here, and that was really fun. I'd recommend if you're rolling through town. It's not a must, but it's fun. Kind of one of those roadside museums, you're just driving past and maybe you wouldn't take a second look, but if you're listening to this podcast, you probably would. The best roadside museum I've ever been to, oh my God, Billy the Kid Museum. I think that was in Texas, or was it New Mexico? Somewhere in between. I'm pretty sure it was Texas. That museum, if you're ever out near there, I would drive an hour out of the way for sure to go there. I think we did actually. Well worth it. I love a little kitschy museum like that. Somewhere you'd least suspect to find some crazy artifacts from history. I learned so much about Billy the Kid there. I left with a book and a souvenir poster. It's hanging in my office, but it's cool. I'm interested. I've been learning some of the stories about Blue Ridge and North Georgia in the little downtown. Well, I guess not so little downtown. I gotta say it was cute, but it needs a good restaurant. All right, it's lacking. And I don't need a Michelin star restaurant, just something a little different. I've been corresponding with Cult Babes from here on Instagram, legit from Blue Ridge and surrounding towns, and pretty much everyone's like, yeah, the restaurants are whatever, because I keep asking everyone where's good food, and they're like, well, not here. Actually, also, I was surprised, this is so annoying of me, but I was surprised because most small towns have at least one little quote unquote health cafe where they have wraps and soups, not bougie at all, just wraps, little soups, maybe a green juice. I know, I'm the fucking worst. That's California me, right? I was born and raised. He's had green juice his whole life. But I'd like that. There was a really good coffee shop called Mountain Mama's, and they have this drink. I think it's called the Mountain Mama. It was their namesake drink, because anytime you go somewhere that's new, I'm I want to try what they're known for. I got it. So fucking good, you guys. I want one right now. But the champ did leave to go take Frankie on a hike, and I don't have a car. So fuck. I'm just here. You see me? You see how it is for me, Cult Babes? Suffering in silence over here. Life is so fucked up. I'm just in this cabin in the middle of nowhere. I can't even get a Mountain Mama. Mountain Mama, Blue Ridge Mountain, Shenandoah River. Anyway, that maple syrup drink was so good. It's all I'll think about for the rest of the day because I can't have it. You know what? I will also say maple syrup coffee drinks. Let's talk about Vermont, baby. Vermont has got the best. I don't love a flavored coffee. We know I'll get down with the dirty chai, but those are kind of more spice driven. But at home, it's black coffee all day long, forever. But if I'm in Vermont, I'm getting maple syrup coffee drinks. Bet your bottom dollar. Spencer, get to the... Well, I guess this is the point. This is the point of it all. I think that's all the updates I have on my end. Still working on that cold case. Still working on another case right now that took place in North Georgia. And it's got a real culty vibe to it. And speaking of cults, when we were driving through Chattanooga the other day, I really wanted to stop by Yellow Deli, which I don't even think we've done an episode on. Didn't have a chance to. So I'm hoping we can possibly hit it on the way back. If I can talk the champ into taking a little detour there, trick him into it. just like those people got tricked into that cult. I don't know. We'll see. I'll take us out with an email from one of you guys. They wrote, Little Leader, local drama. My old high school teacher was accused of predatory behavior. Hey, Spencer, Champ, and Pups. Hope all is well with you. It is. Thank you. And I hope all is well with you back. A while ago, I had sent in an email about my bad date involving me going into a car of an older man, even though I looked very young, and thought you might be interested in more drama. Back in 2013, my old high school psychology teacher was accused of predatory behavior involving young boys around 16. Okay, it's giving Haley back, and it should have been more shocking than it was. When I was in grade 12 in 2012, this teacher was absolutely wasted while she and her husband, also a teacher at my school, chaperoned our prom dance. That's actually crazy. She was so drunk that I watched as her husband had to hold her up. It was wild that even happened, but to find out a year later she was talking to teens sexually, no one was shocked. We only felt bad for her husband, who was a history teacher. They were both well loved within the school, and everyone loved taking their classes. After this news blew up, the Russells left the school, and I don't know what happened to them since. But I guess in 2015, the charges were dropped. I think that's pretty wild because from what I saw, she was pretty shady. I've attached a link for you to read if you're interested. Cambridge is a pretty wild area. If not Cambridge, the Waterloo region. We used to have an old hotel called the Preston Hotel that was said to be haunted. They demolished it because it was too damaged to be restored. Anyway, this has been long enough. Hope y'all have an amazing weekend. Love from Canada. It's from an Anon. And I'm trying to pull open the article. Yeah, it says, oh, there she is. Sonia Russell is no longer a teacher, but she isn't facing criminal charges either. Got it. Once it's out, it's out. Your reputation is done. That's fucking embarrassing. Quote, Russell was taken out of the classroom at blank high school in 2013 when accusations of sexual misconduct involving a then 16-year-old male first surfaced. God, what the fuck is wrong with these people? Russell, 42, is no longer employed by the Waterloo Region District School Board. She resigned from the Ontario College of Teachers earlier this month, a decision she made on her own, according to her lawyer. I don't think that's the case. I don't think she would have been allowed to stay, frankly. But that, it does fucking remind me of Haley Beck, which we put out an episode last Saturday on Gossip's Bridal all about Haley Beck and all the fucking gross shit she was doing. Fucking gnarly. These people, I tell ya, bunch of sickos out in this world. And I'll just never understand the psychology behind why as a teacher would you think that was okay? I don't know. She belongs in jail if you ask me. But the charges were dropped. Thanks for sharing your hometown drama with us. You guys, I always want to hear everything from you. Okay, Majestic. A hawk just flew by the window. I have to keep a real close eye on Hot Dog when we're here because I don't need her getting swooped up. One of my friends was on a movie set with this other girl, actress, and her dog supposedly got swooped up by a hawk. And so now I'm always scared Hot Dog's going to get swooped up. Actually, when we moved to our last house in Orange County, we lived it like backed up to like the foothills. It was very naturey, lots of trees, also beautiful, but there was hawks all the time out there. And I was always like, I had to get Hot Dog at this like special spiky vest she would wear. We take no risks. She also just wants to be by me most of the time anyway. So she's not on her own. Not yet. We haven't taken off her training wheels. I'm a helicopter dad. I'm a helicopter dad, but I like it and she likes it. I'm sorry. Okay, so most of that was just me talking about my trip. Oh, no, I guess we talked about Woody Harrelson's dad, too. That's an interesting story. How can I make this podcast about me? I've done it yet again. So I'm going to sign off so I can go sit outside with the trees. Shout out to the South because I love living in Tennessee so much. All of the little road trips that we've gotten to go on, all of the small towns we drive through, I love it. I love it so much. I mean, Georgia, I had no idea how beautiful it was. So insane. I'd only ever been to Atlanta, and I don't know, you go to one city, you've been to every city. You see a downtown, it's a downtown. Like when we were touring, it's like everything starts to feel the same. Like, okay, we're in a downtown somewhere else. But I'm telling you, getting out into the nature out here is unreal. Stunning. I will See you on Tuesday for another cold case that I've been talking to all my friends about, and I can't wait for your guys' theories on this. I hope you have the best weekend. Go touch a tree. Go touch grass. Get out into some nature. I love you guys. Okay, goodbye.